Excuse the messy background. I am in my garage. It's the only place I can go to record where it's quiet and away from the kids and all the craziness. But for pure contour and modified contour, you need to see my face. You need to see that I'm looking at you. I'm not looking at my drawing. So for pure contour, again, I have my hand in a fist. Okay, right here. You can see it here. That's the position I'm going to go with. I'm going to be looking, actually, I'm not going to be looking at you. I'm going to be looking at my hand. So you'll be seeing that I'm looking down. If I'm looking at my paper, I'm looking over here. If I'm looking over here, you're gonna know that I'm looking at my hand. So over here to the paper, over there is to where my hand is. All right, so we're gonna start. Okay, so I'm starting, I'm looking at my paper so I can see where I'm starting from, but then I'm gonna look over at my hand. Okay, so I'm gonna start the bends in the wrist, then coming up, coming along the thumb, little indent, a little indent, a little kind of squiggly. Then I have my thumbnail. I'm glancing over to see if I went up far enough, which I did. So I'm looking back at my thumb so I can kind of continue over, just checking to see if it's in the right spot. And then I am going to look to make sure that when I bring this line down, I'm stopping where I need to stop. Okay. And then instead of tracing, or instead of not looking while I'm tracing, I can look. And here I'm going to see too that I got this angle wrong. So I'm just going to change that and trace back down. I'm not going to erase it because you can't erase. But then from here, this is where I'm now looking back at my hand because now I need to see the new information. So this is going to continue down. I got to go slowly. Okay, from here, I'm just going to kind of look. And I'm looking and I see that I made that thumb really fat. So I'm going to kind of come back up here. So again, we can't erase. And that's more where, well, I should be because it kind of angles down weird. Okay, now I'm looking back at my thumb. Just a little crease. Down here, just a little crease. Just a little bit. There's a little crease here, here, and there. Okay, now I could go two ways with this. Okay, I could draw the pad of my thumb like we talked about before, or I could go up and draw the fingernail. I think I'm going to go back up and draw the fingernail. So from here, that fingernail comes up. I am kind of glancing over to make sure I'm in the right spot. Round, down, and back at the hand. And it kind of goes over a little bit because that is where the pad of the thumb comes. Okay, now I'm going to come back up here. I'm looking to see where it needs to go because now I'm back at drawing the information. Kind of check to make sure I'm in the right spot. Drawing new information, I'm looking back at my hand. Okay, I'm back top, and you can see that that got, I'm picking up my pencil, I know, but I'm just using it to point. This got a little bit of a bump here, but that's okay. Putting my pencil back down exactly where it was. Looking back at my hand, kind of comes over and down. Okay, and this is going to get brought down a little bit further than it probably should because I did a little weird, what did I do? I think I brought it up too far. Yeah, because now that I'm looking at this, my thumb comes up higher than everything else. So since that's the case, I'm going to come back down to probably about here. And then trace back over. And this I didn't make wide enough. Okay, so I've got all these extra lines, and that's okay. It's okay to have those extra lines. We're not going to erase. We're not going to change it. I haven't picked my pencil up except for when I pointed that time. But you want to kind of make sure that you're adjusting where you need to. If you make those mistakes, it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. You're new at this. If you didn't make mistakes, I'd think that you were cheating. So make mistakes. That's how you learn. Now that we're back over to here, now I'm going to take this next finger. This one curves more until it comes down at the angle. Just checking where my placement is. That's good. Looking back at my hand. Comes kind of in. See, and I've got going too fast, so now I need to kind of check myself. It's probably okay. I'm going to come in a little bit. I went in a little too much. I'm going to come to here. Okay. I'm going to come around for this fingernail. And then again, that pad of my hand kind of comes across. Does a weird little thing with the nail. I'm looking at my drawing now because I'm going to trace back over. And this comes up here. Now I can trace back over. And I see here that I didn't finish that, and that's because my nail actually comes down here. So it's not a mistake. It's where it needs to be. So I'm good there. Now I'm going to trace back over to here. I think I'm going to trace back up this finger to do the next one. And it comes over, comes down, and come in here. And it kind of comes up for my pinky, where that pinky kind of overlaps a little bit. And I glanced over, try to figure out before I move on. I think it needs to come down this way. And then here, that goes in for this finger, comes up around for the nail. For the nail, you do have to kind of look and see where you're going. And that went over too far. This needs to come over more like this, because there is a little dark spot in there. And then pad of the hand kind of comes down this way. This nail kind of comes around there. Now I'm back over tracing to the pinky. I like to start out from the top. So then this pinky is lower. It's going to come down here, trace in, go up. But oh, when I look back, that's way too small for that pinky. Okay, so I need to go here and come down. Okay, and that's going to really throw me off, and I'm going to want to erase it. But there it goes in there, comes up, comes in a little up there to here. Matches up pretty nicely, comes back around to that pinky nail. Then here I'm going to trace back up. That was all correct. This line is good. And then here it kind of goes in, trace back, goes out a little bit. And then it goes into there, that crease. Comes in at the wrist, down, in at the wrist, down, in at the wrist, down. All right, now, hopefully I get this back in the exact same position. But if I wanted to, I'm not picking my pencil, but again to point, if I wanted to go back and draw this in, I can't just pick up my pencil and move over here, okay? So I'm going back right to where I left, and I'm just going to trace this line, going very, very lightly. I'm still having contact with the paper. I'm tracing back over everywhere to where I get up to here, okay? Now that I'm here, I can kind of trace. That wasn't quite right. This needs to kind of come. And that's also where you're going to start to see your mistakes, where things don't quite fit how you thought it would. And that kind of comes into there. Okay. So did that add a bunch to it? Yeah, not so much. All right. Is this one perfect? Again, no, it's not. It's not going to be perfect. Is it better, however, than our line contour? Absolutely. Okay. If you have an improvement, then you're doing well. If you, again, are following the rules, what I'm looking for, is it a continuous line? Did you retrace where you needed to and correct the mistakes as you went with just adding new information, a new line? Yes, you're good. Does it look like the details of your hand, or does it look like a symbol of a hand? This, I'm still seeing the details, so the little creases, a little like squiggly line for the little bump along here. You can kind of see along there. I hold it up close, angle. You'll see that's not perfectly flat. It's not perfectly smooth, okay? Something to pay attention to. Look at the angle of your nail compared to your thumb. It's an interesting little kind of angle, and depending on what direction you have it at, you're gonna have those different little changes. Excuse me. So just make sure that you kind of take care of those things. Look at the little creases that are in this part of the hand. Okay. So this is pure contour. It's always important to label your stuff so that way you know what it is when you go back and look at it. So you don't look back at this later on and be like, oh my God, that was the best hand I could do. No, this was your first one. Okay. I also like to date things. So today for me, when I'm recording this is June, let's say June 4th. Okay. June 4th. And this is 2020. So later on, if you're viewing this video way down the road, you'll be able to see how old this video is. But record it, put the date there, so that way you know in the progression of things how much you've improved, because that's where I want to see. I want to see, are you improving with your skills as you go along? That's what I'm looking for in grading you. I'm not looking at you compared to the person who is, before or after you in the grading pile. I'm looking for, how are you progressing as an artist yourself? Okay. Are you trying? Are you making that effort? Are you following the directions and the rules and the tips and tricks I'm giving you? Or are you just kind of like, bleh, whatever it is? So this is pure contour.